Jai Gaura Madhur Sware Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Gai Gaura Madhur Sware Maya Jale Bhando Hoye Acho Miche Kajaloye Maya Jale Bhando Hoye Acho Miche Kajaloye Радха Мадав нам Болуре. А вот сейчас появился. Он несколько раз писал, что нету. Эконай хо четано пе Радха Мадав нам Болуре. Gai Gaura Madhur Sware Jivana hoila shesha Na bhojile Hrishikesha Shusha Nabojile Krishekisha Bhakti Vinodupadesha Ekbar Namrasim Mathurye Bhakti Vinodupadesha Ekbar Namrasim Mathurye Gai Gaura Madhur Sware Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gora, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gora, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gora, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Oh, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Jai Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Radha Madhav Jiva Sundar Ki Jai, Guru Gauranga Radha Raman Jiva Sundar Ki Jai, Gandharvika Giridhari Jiva Ki Jai. You know, today is Pashan Kusha Ekadashi. Bhakti, you know something about this Ekadashi? No? Basically, this Ekadashi described in like Brahma Vaivarta Purana, and from what I understand, it's a Krishna speaking with Yudhishthira Maharaj. And the reason is Krishna speaking to Yudhishthira Maharaj is Yudhishthira Maharaj is very, very strict follower of Vedic Dharma, because after the battlefield of Kurukshetra, he basically started living as a sadhu. So when they took over the palaces of, you know, Dhritarashtra and his brothers, the beautiful homes, so the Bhima took over Dhritarashtra palace, and Yudhishthira Maharaj took the most humble palace ever. And as he stay, he actually take a vow, and this vow called something go blah 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 vow, which means he start his day through performing worship of Lord Vishnu, and then he's going to feed the cows, and also only after he fed the cows, he'll take a little bit raw veg. He'll become like raw eater, maybe raw things, and sometimes he can take some milk and light milk product. He'll never take opulent food like rice, dal. So Maharaj Yudhishthira became very skinny, very strict, very mind-focused, and many times Krishna and Vedavyasa had to come to him and convince him that what he's done was right, but because he felt responsible for murder of so many like souls, and especially his relatives, and besides relatives like Drona, who's his guru, you know, Karna, who's his brother, and you know, technically Bhima, who's his grandfather. So he couldn't like really say, oh, okay, but we had to kill those we loved and who give us the childhood support and who raise us, and after their death we cannot feel satisfied. But you know, Krishna had to come to him and Vedavyas and say like, no man, what you did is for dharma, and they had to constantly explain to Maharaj Yudhishthira that he's okay. But then Maharaj Yudhishthira still would say, no, I know you, my friend, you're trying to calm me down. I have to really like take a lot of suffering and vows for like purification, because I'm probably going to go to hell. But I appreciate Krishna, you know, I just know you have too much sympathy to our family. You know, that was like his mood. He was not like feel, okay, you know, okay, we've killed all these guys, everything fine. No, he couldn't do that. So, therefore, in this conversation of this Purana, Krishna explained to him, because Maharaj Yudhishthira's question is like, sincerely, how one can purify himself through, you know, a dharmic ritual, like dharmic deeds. And Krishna say, well, you know, Yudhishthira, if you follow that Ekadashi, and this Ekadashi connect with Lord Padmanabha. So when we put different names of Lord on our body, Padmanabha is one of the names of Lord. So we know Lord presence everywhere, but there are different types of deities that are meant for each date. So if you really look at the calendar, you'll, in Bhagavatam and other Puranas, you'll see that each date, like certain deity is responsible. So, and you know, certain demigods also responsible. So there are normally three. One comes as Yaksha, one is Apsara, one is primarily. It's like basically the government is always changed, but there's like primarily deities are, in that date, are the deity of the day. So when they would say in worship, you know, there's different types of Krishna, but you know, like as you understand, there are, like in our Gaudiya Sampradaya, we're not a Vedic followers because it's just too complicated. It's take all your conscious time to understand the moon is coming to this side, the sun is coming to that side, that deity is in charge of that date, and so, but you know, certain things like Ekadashi, very simple. Mahaprabhu said to his mother, please don't eat rice in this day. Just very Bengali thing, no fish, no rice. But she wouldn't eat fish and rice, but what I'm saying is like, you know, Mahaprabhu said to his mother, I can't explain everything. Like as a Kapila Dev, I explained already to Mother Devahuti with very loving form how the universe functions. But in this descent as Mahaprabhu, I can't waste my time to mystic yoga and Gyan because I brought very important devotion. So if you want to keep your devotion, this day avoid grains. And you know the reason why grains to be avoided? Why?
Papa Purush lives there.
Yeah. But who is Papa Purush? He's a Kali. So that's why in Kali Yuga, very important to follow Ekadashi, because at the time of churning milk ocean, the Kali appear, and everybody were like kicking Kali. And he was very, very powerful, but at a certain point he was limited by Maharaj Yudhishthira and others. So he said, I will live only in where the gold is, and at a certain time I will appear in everywhere, especially like in seeds. So that's why in mystical way we should avoid any kind of seeds at this point. So now with your blessing and permission, I'll switch into Russian because it's important information I have to reach and share with Russian auditorium. Otherwise they're just ready to like do the toast and like, hey, it's Ekadashi today. They're like, oh my God. Oh yeah. Like, this grilled cheese sandwich with 5 grains seed bread, and they're like, okay, give to my girlfriend. Like, okay, go chant, being depressed, like Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare. Oh, like no sex today. Oh my God, you know, right? Oh, no beer. Like, oh, fuck. It's Ekadashi today, man. You got to do it straight. So that's some of the people like this, but some of the people like, hey, I'm happy to do tapasya. I'm happy to do some fasting. I'm happy to do some extra kirtan. That's how devotees feel. Those who's inclined towards sin and forgiveness of the sin, which is normal religion, you know, they're committing sin, but they feel very bad and they think, oh, okay, the sin has to be washed away. They're like that. And so, therefore, in this conversation with Maharaj Yudhishthira, Krishna did not went to mundane explanation. He just said, this Ekadashi release you from all kind of sins, and especially Vaishnava aparat. If you worship Lord Padmanabha, and if you engage this day fully, solely in spiritual activities. So that's what we're trying to do. And let me switch into Russian, so because some people already here. Дорогие друзья, хорошо. Я просто перевел на русский, потому что здесь сидели наши англоязычные друзья, Кала Прабhu, Бхакти Лалита Деви Даси, И поэтому я должен был, ну, как бы из уважения к нашим преданным, англоязычным, сказать несколько слов на английском. I mean, sorry guys, you don't have to be here to listen Russian. It's only Chinese would come and listen to my Russian class, you know, like this, and they would sit like this. You can. Так что я только что рассказал преданным о том Экадаши, который сегодня мы празднуем. Этот Экадаши называется, да, не дай Бог вспомнить, Пашан Куша Экадаши. И он связан с поклонением Господу Падманабхе. Я рассказал историю о том, что когда Махарадж Юдхиштхира стал императором всей земли, он по-прежнему чувствовал большое, как бы, чувство вины за убийство своих братьев, учителей, и постоянно пытался искупить грех и быть слугой всех живых существ. Но Кришна и Ведавьяса неоднократно приходили к нему и пытались убедить его, что в его деяниях нет греха. И тем не менее Юдхиштхира задает Кришне вопрос, что это за Экадаши и какое благо мы получим от него. И Кришна говорит, что этот Экадаш смывает все грехи, в том числе грехи, как бы, оскорблений. И в этот день следует поклоняться Господу Падманабхе. И обычно в Экадаши мы воспеваем Святое Имя, заняты большей степенью садхана бхакти, и встречаемся с преданными, поем, общаемся, и через это мы, как бы, достигаем совершенства. Таким образом, мы можем сказать, что сам по себе пост во время Экадаши не является главным элементом, то есть типа я не ем, я ничего не делаю, это такая материалистическая идея. Поэтому в какой-то степени в храмах полный сухой пост все не держат. Держат, конечно, там садху, какие-то подвижники, которые, так сказать, очень сильно зарублены. На самом деле это даже больше рекомендуется для домохозяев, тех людей, которые живут дома, потому что им надо в большей степени вырваться из материальной среды, и поэтому для них посты крайне-крайне рекомендованы. Те, которые живут в храме, они так с утра до вечера как бы крутятся, да? Поэтому для них рекомендована в высшей степени занятость в садхане, воспевание святых имен и, как бы, божественные деяния. Ну и, как вы понимаете, как бы Господь Кришна не мог рассказывать Махараджу Юдхиштхире, своему очень близкому другу и, так сказать, одному из своих любимцев, какие-то такие, ну, пустые религиозные советы, да, поэтому он не стал ему говорить о какой-то такой внешней части Экадаши. Он сказал ему, что все оскорбления могут быть прощены в этот день, если преданный поклоняется Господу Падманабхе, и в этот день он медитирует на Господа, совершает определенные трансцендентные деяния и так далее. Джай. Так что надеюсь, что вы сегодня постараетесь, как бы, полностью погрузить себя в океан Харикатхи, духовных деяний. Now let's talk interesting things. Ну, вы знаете, что сейчас такое, как бы, время особое, скоро начинается месяц Картика. What time Kartika start? Лолита? Картик?
Saturday.
На этой неделе начинается месяц Картики, и мы должны постараться в этот месяц максимально, как бы, участвовать в духовной жизни, но поскольку идет большая пандемия, и многие будут находиться на самоизоляции или ограниченном общении, мы постараемся этот месяц Картика вести в цифровом формате из наших храмов с разными махараджами, чтобы вы могли участвовать то ли на одном, то ли на другой программе. Вот. Мы постараемся обсудить это с Данди Махараджем, Хришикешем Махараджем и мной, чтобы мы выходили в разное время. Вот. Это очень будет важно. Поэтому ваше участие как бы в этом месяце, хотя онлайн вы проведете месяц Картика, но у нас были неоднократно поездки в Индию, и мы пытались онлайн там даже транслировать, да, и также снимать. Поэтому надеюсь, что у нас есть какие-то снятые парикрам съемки. Мы постараемся бросать линки прошлых лет. So we do have a lot of visuals and a lot of Kartik pilgrimage footage, which hopefully we can release this year on YouTube and somewhere. So devotees, I'm telling you that most of the devotees will follow Kartika in digital way, because not be possible go to India, not be possible go to even temples like maybe Petersburg, because it's too much COVID going on, and we're kind of trying to, protect our elders that they're, and Moscow, everybody already had COVID, but everybody's in Moscow yogis, and they already several days, like everybody had sick for like 3, 4, 5 days, and recently we had Ame Singhu with chronic tuberculosis visiting us, which is like worse than COVID. This is really worse stuff. So we're doing disinfection of my room that I kindly allow him to stay, and he's been transferred to hospital, and very, 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 I would say, neglected stage of tuberculosis, like almost no lungs. So we pray for Ame Singhu for his well-being, and I'm going to talk to him tonight. But going back to Russian, I'm not going to give it a long time. I'm going to finish in 10-15 minutes, because I've given yesterday a big Madhvacharya talk for 1 hour, and already give 3 lectures before I come here to Khabarovsk and other places. I already spoke intensively with Goswami Maharaj, and so I'm not going to do the long thing, but so let me go back to Russian right now. Так, дорогие друзья, я сказал уже моим американским друзьям, что сегодня я не буду делать такой длинный каст, но хочу сконцентрировать вас на то, чтобы вы постарались следовать Экадышам. Помните, что Экадыши – это особые святые дни, в которые Господь как бы дает нам преданность. Поэтому Махапрабху сказал, Экадыши – это то, как мы обретаем преданность. Это также описано в песне Бхактивинода Такура, поэтому мы специальные песни поем в Экадыши. Также Махапрабху сказал своей маме с большой любовью, что «Мама, я прошу тебя об одном одолжении». Мне она сказала, каком? Она сказала, «Мама, я прошу, чтобы на Экадыше ты не ела рис, зерновые, и прочие недопустимые». Махапрабху с большой любовью, когда он был Господом Капилой, он беседовал со своей матерью Девахути, и мать спросила Капилу о том, как устроено мироздание. И, кстати, если бы Эйнштейна спросили, как устроено мироздание, он бы начал, так сказать, чертить сложные формулы. Но когда тебя спрашивает твоя мама, типа, Альберт, как устроено мироздание, ты должен попытаться объяснить ей максимально понятно, с большой любовью. Поэтому мы говорим о том, что знание передается только с любовью. Любовь – это как бы в аюрведе есть всегда 2 компонента. Это лекарство и носитель лекарства. Очень часто носителем лекарства выступает либо ги, либо мед, либо еще что-то. Да? То есть есть лекарство, но как его доставить? И вот поэтому, когда мы говорим о духовном общении, Кришна сказал, «Тад видхи пранипатина парипрашнена сева и уприкшанти тем гьянас гьянинас татвадаршанам», что пранипат парипрашна сева, пранипат – предание, уважение, любовь, парипрашна – вопрошение, и сева – служение. Да? И поэтому Шрила Гурудев, он очень часто говорил о очень важных вещах. Он называл simple-hearted devotees. Конечно, здесь Бхакти Лалита. As you remember, Gurudev used to say simple-hearted devotees. I only read this in commentary of Madhva on Mahabharata, that simple-hearted was the most important quality of spiritual seeker. Because if you're suspicious of spiritual things, I don't believe, if you're acting with your ego, you can't be a receiver of spiritual knowledge. So simple-hearted devotee is most important, to be heart open for spiritual knowledge and realizing Krishna is my friend, Guru is my friend, there's my well-wishers and things. So yesterday we exchanged with Bhakti Lalita about does COVID exist or that COVID does not exist. But really I know she's only thinking about well-being of devotees. So when she said about, we should follow certain rules, it's not just she wants to make any rules. We know devotees are well-wishers. So that's how we have to accept devotees. If we don't understand devotees are friends, well-wishers, we're in the wrong place. And we can't have a spiritual knowledge, because that's the only way we can have spiritual knowledge, is to love devotees, to understand whatever devotees are telling us is non kind of low stuff, devotees like, and especially higher devotees, they're giving us like nectar on the plate. And if we start being like, I'm not really sure about the plate, or like what kind of nectar you're giving to me, that's like a very, very offensive way. So, simple-hearted. Итак, простота сердца, с которой Девахути слушает своего сына, простота сердца, с которой Махапрабху дает наставление своей матери, вот главное условие получения духовного знания. Если нету между нами любви и простоты сердца, да, то есть, я помню, был один преданный, не буду называть его имя, он очень любил чморить людей на лекциях. В какой-то момент мне тоже нравилось чморить кого-то на лекциях, потому что какой-то приходит, такой человек, который ничего не понимает, он тебе задает вопрос, и ты начинаешь его отрабатывать, а все остальные радуются. Но потом я сменил эту тактику, я понял, что это прикольно в определенных каких-то условиях. Я помню, был такой момент в моей жизни, когда мы приехали проповедовать на Грушу, мы расставили кришнаитский шатер, театр привезли, а рядом была какая-то церковь. Эта церковь, это была не православная церковь, а какая-то харизматическая церковь западная. И члены этой церкви подумали, вот, приехали какие-то язычники, кришнаиты, что-то там развесили идолов каких-то. И они собрались какой-то большой толпой, на нас философски накатить, что мы ничего не понимаем, надо предаться единственному Богу Христу. Но они нарвались, конечно, не на тех, и очень, с большим приколом мы их, полностью, можно сказать, разбили. Тогда они вернулись уже со своим главным проповедником, и тому досталось тоже, как в этом боксерском поединке, очень серьезно. И он стал пытаться сыпать какими-то шлоками из Библии, причем, которые мало имеют какой-то смысл. Я ему сказал, слушай, смотри, вот ты христианин, а я индуист. Да? Ты мне сейчас говоришь какие-то шлоки из твоего писания, которые для меня не имеют какой-то ценности. Да? То есть, слыша выражения каких-то там вифлеемских старцев, у меня не трясутся поджилки. Вот. Обрати внимание, я не читаю тебе санскритские шлоки на санскрите. Я тебе говорю философские истины понятным языком. Я тебе задаю вопрос. Ты понимаешь, что такое душа? Расскажи мне. Ты не можешь мне рассказать, что такое душа. А я тебе могу рассказать, что такое душа. Что она трансцендентна, она бессмертна, она исполнена сознания, она стремится к счастью. Видишь, я говорю тебе очень важные базовые понятия, о которых в твоей религии даже нет мысли никакой. И ты мне сейчас пытаешься сказать, что мы какие-то дикари чумба-юмба, которые танцуют пигмеи с костями, потому что мы индусы. Ты никогда не был в Индии, ты не знаешь ничего об этой культуре, поэзии, архитектуре. У тебя нет образования достаточно представить в твоей голове. Все, что ты видел, это телевизор, голодные люди в Бангладеш, какие-то там бомжи в Пакистане и так далее. И поэтому тебе кажется, что ты находишься на вершине своей цивилизации, и ты с этой вершины цивилизации вещаешь. Но когда Шрила Прабхупаду, великого учителя, спросили, что вы думаете по поводу западной цивилизации, Шрила Прабхупада сказал, я надеюсь, что она когда-нибудь появится. Не в том смысле, что когда началась пандемия коронавируса, что скупили в первую очередь? What were sold in the US in the first weeks of pandemic of coronavirus? Who knows? Number one selling item. That's right. Toilet paper. So that means the world will not exist without toilet paper, which is wonderful. I really love it. I really love soft toilet paper. You know what? But I don't consider this as a clean standard of cleanliness. In fact, Garga Samhita said, if you shit in the morning and did not take shower, your day will be spoiled. So just as an advertising remark, after you shit, take your shower, full shower, you'll be blessed. Let me now translate this advertising into Russian. Я только что сказал своим американским братьям, что когда мы говорим о споре с точки зрения западной цивилизации и восточной цивилизации, ведической цивилизации, мы, безусловно, говорим о двух вещах. Это эгоистическое представление о своем превосходстве. Но в реальности, когда мы говорим, что во время пандемии коронавируса, что произошло первое? Первое, раскупили туалетную бумагу. Но с точки зрения ведической цивилизации, не только после опорожнения кишечника надо вымыть попу. Вымыть, напоминаю. А принять полное омовение, то есть душ. Почему? Потому что Утреннее опорожнение оскверняет человека. И в Гарга-самхите сказано, если человек после опорожнения не принимает полный душ, то он весь день ходит оскверненным. И, ребята, я сейчас не пытаюсь сказать, что такое древнее ведическое общество, там, я просто говорю, вот смотрите, стандарты чистоты, да, то есть если люди не научились мыть жопу, то чему они могут научить других? То есть если у них нет элементарных представлений, зубочистка является чудом для большинства западных людей. So next example, a tongue scraper. When you go to America or any like Switzerland, any France, you know, France even worse. The freaking French wouldn't even take shower. You know, they, like it wasn't part of their thing. Like that's why they invent perfume, because they stink. So do you understand why their aroma oils came from India and Asia? And they said, hey man, you know what? If I'm woman, if I stink like a shit, I can deal with the smell. So the same aroma was used in ancient worship of the deity. Not only people would, you know, cover their body with aroma, especially women, you know, after being healthy, prosperous, the deity would be offered aroma. So welcome back to our channel. So now let me go to Russian. Таким образом, so there are two ideas. Idea number one, I smell like a shit, but I spread, and I smell like shit in a beautiful place, which is better than obvious shit. But in the Western civilization, you have to take a shower, you have to clean yourself, and then after worship of your deity, you can accept aroma for your body, and that's mean prasadam actually. You can like, so tell me who's more civilized? Like who is more, like, what are we talking about? Ребята, я немножко разбавляю английским, надеюсь, те кто, пожалуйста, да. Что?
Есть вопрос от наших телезрителей. Они спрашивают, сколько нужно принимать, раз в день нужно принимать омовение и в каких ситуациях?
Окей. Прекрасный вопрос. Судя по всему, у этих товарищей удобства на огороде, как правило, или нет удобств. Вот. Значит, это хороший вопрос. В первую очередь, омовение называется снан. Во вторую очередь, существуют типы омовения. Самое благоприятное – это омовение в святом месте, океан или святая река, такая как Ганга, Ямуна, Гадвари или Сарасвати, или другие священные реки. Если такой возможности нет, подходит пруд. Если такой возможности нет, подходит несколько ведер воды. Если такой возможности нет, подходит какой-то тонкий поток воды. Это мы говорим о омовении. Вторая ситуация. Когда йоги омываются, духовные люди омываются, они медитируют на священные воды Ганги и других священных рек. И это называется снан. Во время омовения прочитываются специальные мантры. То есть сам по себе процесс омовения – это не просто помыл попу из ковшика там, или из шланга, или там помыл подмышками, чтобы они не пахли. Когда мы заходим, вода – переносчик сознания. Поэтому, когда мы медитируем на определенные высшие реалии, с водой это сознание. Вот, поэтому в аюрведе есть разные дхары, так называемые дхара. Такра-дхара, кшира-дхара, джала-дхара. Например, если мы льем воду вот сюда, вот на эту часть, она смывает определенные негативные аспекты. Вот, поэтому существуют разные дхары. Например, мы можем сюда лить такру, сыворотку молочную. Она еще более обладает тонкой способностью смывать. Или масло, тогда мы вообще можем делать перезагрузку своего сознания. Вот. В Писании сказано, в Хари Бхакти Виласе, что существует несколько типов омовения. Первый тип омовения благоприятно в священном месте, в священной реке, медитируя на Господа, совершая сакральные церемонии. Второй тип омовения – это когда мы призываем как бы священные воды в простую воду, то есть как бы трансформация. И третий тип омовения – когда мы не можем омыться, тогда мы омываемся мантрой, памятуя о Ганге, то есть ментальное омовение. Понятно, да? То есть физическое и ментальное омовение. Далее, когда речь идет об омовении, существует в соответствии с писаниями несколько типов омовения. Первый тип омовения – горячей водой. Горячая вода с точки зрения шастра считается благоприятна для физического тела, она может смыть физическую грязь, но она считается неблагоприятной для тонкого ментального омовения. Поэтому второй тип омовения рекомендуется холодной водой. Эта вода работает с точки зрения тонкой энергии больше. Также существует несколько правил омовения. Например, в соответствии с тем, какая свара доминирует. Например, если человек встает рано утром, и у него доминирует, например, Ида, Луна, тогда он не должен омываться в это время, потому что не должен омываться холодной водой, потому что если доминирует Ида, которая несет по себе холод, Луна, и он добавляет холодной воды, тогда возможно простудиться. Но если у него работает Ида, он должен мыться горячей водой. Если у него работает Сурья, солнечная свара, тогда он может мыться горячей водой в этот момент. Что еще рассказать про омовение? Подписывайтесь на наш канал, вы будете знать все. Как правильно вытирать попу, каким лопухом, как его сворачивать, как его использовать для шпаклевки, наклеивать на крыши домов. Харе Кришна, Харе Кришна. See, from here we are, from super divine knowledge, which we don't know, to common body knowledge, which we also don't know. Because Sanatana Goswami in Hari Bhakti Vilasa reveals so many things about what is the auspicious way of taking snan, the bath. And there's so many details, like for instance, when you wake up in the morning and your Ida swara working, your moon swara working, then you should not be taking cold water. Because if your Ida is still functioning, if your moon is still functioning, then you should take only warm shower. But if your Surya functioning, then you can take cold shower, because your body has two positions, Purna and Rakta. Purna means every 90 minutes your body switch. Half of your body is relaxing, and half of your body become functional. So your body is not working 100%, it's 50-50. And you have two brain, Ida Pingala, right and left. You have two intellect, objective with the sun and subjective with the moon. So you have two kind of intellect, you have two kind of parts of body, and it change. So when you're going to Shunya Svara or to the two nostrils working, then that moment is most auspicious for spiritual meditative sun, chant Gayatri in the water. So previously yogis, they would check their Svara first, and as they feel Shunya Svara, just for that moment they go to the water and start chanting Gayatri. There's also ways to connect with Tattva through the water, see the sun. There's a particular mudras and things you do. But all this knowledge is technically lost. It's in scriptures, but it's not been used. But it's very, very subtle connection with your body, with universe, with water, air, ether, your personal self, which we don't even know. So what to speak about, taking baths after shit? Even these things are unknown to modern civilization. So if you are like for instance, which side of body you should lay when you sleep? Well, only in the way if Ida is Ida functioning. If you're Surya functioning, you should sleep on Surya. Or like which foot you should step up from your bed. Yeah, so let's say if you left Ida functioning, then you're starting by touching part of your body. You can touch or you can do certain things. Like you can do like this, or you can just touch part of your body, and from that foot you start. Or like why people would sit before they start traveling, because there is a particular way which side you're traveling. So that's how you start, from Ida or Pingala. Or one thing I can teach you from magic, which you should know, it's very important knowledge. When look, it's knowledge from hidden shastras. Two of your nostrils are controlled by Ashvina Kumaras. You know Ashvinas, who Ashvinas are? Who they are? Yeah, celestial twins, but who really they are? What is their function in the universe? Okay, Ashvinas are specially blessed by Dhanvantaris, and they consider to be the demigods of health. However, being demigods of health, they're in charge of left and right nostril. Because they're twins, their both looks the same. So when one of the Ashvinas is functioning, it's one nostril work, which change with about 90 minutes, and also function as a moon and sun. So every month and every part of the week, you have different breathing cycles. So, and Ashvinas have wife that name goddess Usha. So when they're joining their wife together, and one wife for two, that time you have two nostrils open, called Shunya Svara or Sushumna. So at that moment, Sushumna call also dangerous Svara or deadly Svara, because most self-murders, criminals, all kind of abandoned bad things happen when two nostrils working, especially with women, because mental control is unachieved with when you're in Sushumna. So when your wife screaming at you, just tell her like, honey, check out your breath. So well, she should check out her breath, and she will realize it's two nostrils functioning. So that happens every 90 minutes at your twist. So Sushumna function only for 4 or 5 minutes. But to yogis, it's considered to be Shunya Svara, or the best Svara for meditation. So when two of your nostrils start functioning, that's the best time to chant Gayatri or Hare Krishna or just go to meditation. Once you do that at the time of Sushumna, click, in a second, you're going into trance. That's where the knowledge is. So you should know one thing, because I'm not going to teach you more, it's too complicated, but one, you should know one thing. When two of your nostrils working, nothing material will ever happen. Let's say you're going to a meeting to buy something on sale. If at that moment Sushumna is functioning, nothing will happen. So what to do?
Lay on one side.
No. No, it's not going to be possible. Well, first of all, you're in a meeting, so you have special mudra, this mudra. You see like this, your finger has to be here. You press, and you put under your thing. So these are the buttons to change your svara. I've learned how to do it, now I do it. So you put like this, and you press with your hand. So have you seen a stick before when they would carry? You know what the stick name? A short stick with like, they would put in hand. You see with every rishi. You know what the stick is? That's the stick called Yoga Danda. Its function to change the swara. It's not just stick for because you're lazy to chant. So you put your stick over here and you press a little bit with your body, then your nostril change. So if you don't have the stick with you, then you have the mudra and finger like this. So you put this with a special mudra to endorse element, and you're like, and you're start going. So let's say on the meeting, I can teach you later. It's not that difficult, but you have to understand. It's just, you have to feel how the energy is going. So once you change your swara, immediately, let's say you go to Ida because it's creative meeting, or it's a very contained deal with land, or like a hardcore material object. Then you switch to Surya because you have subjective and objective reality. But my point is this: what I'm telling you is used to be known to everybody. I mean, everybody knew that your body has energy, how your body function, how the food work, how the air work. Now people know shit, and they consider to be themselves as a great, civilization because they can post cats on Facebook. So there's so many ways with this physiology, with this world, which exists in Vedic civilization, we can't even imagine. Because if I start telling you what you can do with that knowledge, you won't believe it. But what I'm trying to say, that's not like devotional thing. I'm just trying to explain. The Vedic civilization were so advanced, we can't even imagine. Так, было небольшое вступление рекламное. So now from commercial, see, I'm working on 2 markets at the same time. Как Остап Ибрагимович, который играл на 72 шахматных досках Для наших русскоязычных посетителей я просто рассказал нашим американским братьям и сестрам о том, что наше тело – это загадка, и древнюю физиологию знали все мудрецы. А сейчас мы думаем, что у нас есть мобильные телефоны, экранчики, и мы там постим котиков, и мы как бы находимся на вершине как бы человеческой цивилизации. На этом, друзья, я заканчиваю. Прошу прощения, что сегодня так с английским, но приходится уважать наших гостей. Всего хорошего, Харе Кришна, счастливых Экадаши. Спасибо вам за то, что вы онлайне. I've just finished the translation, so my point is this. Think of this. There's so many settled knowledge about universe, about ourselves, about things. Like, for instance, today I've been studying Sankhya Yoga of Kapil Muni, which is also part of mystical yoga. Actually, everything which is in other Puranas about what I told you comes from that, because they all refer to that part. And there's very complicated, I mean, you can't just read this book and understand. It's just too advanced. But when I've read some subscription shastras which comment on that, then I understand, oh my God, now I understand what Krishna briefly talked in Gita. You know, Krishna covered this in like 2 words, because in the Gita, Krishna has to tell to Arjuna the most important thing, but, you know, Krishna is not stupid, you know, he like, okay, this exists, this exists. But then in Bhagavad by Vedavyas, like, you know, Vedavyas covered this in a very, very profound way, leading to spiritual conclusion. See, because the knowledge that I just told you about, it's known through warriors, Ayurvedic doctor, even sexual exchange. Now, let me give you a short lecture on sexual exchange. Very simple. I mean, for you to know. So when right swara work in a husband and right swara work in a wife, there will not be a pleasant union. How can you change? Not only mudra. You know how you change your swara? Very simple. You can also change your swara with food. So just imagine, when you eat chili and like some hot food, what happened to you? You start sweating, your nostril open, sneezing from your nose. That is open your surya. But when you drink coconut juice, ice cream, what happened? So you stimulate your ida. So even simple things, you can change your energy and swara through food. And if you deal with even your wife, it's all about male-female energy getting together. If there become 2 male energy, there's going to be crash. So I want to ask a question. Why Radharani is always staying in a particular side of Krishna? Yes, but you have to understand, women is the left side. So you have 2 sides, Ida, women's side, and male side. So she's staying always in the left side of Krishna because of that energy. I mean, obviously everything comes from God. So when you deal with your wife, you have to keep her in the left side. And when you deal with your female disciple, you have to keep her in the right side. You can't keep your female disciple on the left side, because she might be getting the wrong energy from you. But if you keep your female disciple in the right side, then it will be auspicious, because the energy will be proper. Because you're not connecting with that female through your gender, rather through knowledge. So that's why it says in scripture, the guru is supposed to keep the disciple female on the right side of his swara. And his wife, you have to keep the left side, because that will give her more comfortable to express her energy. So as a Tesla said, everything is in this world is about frequency and vibration and energy. So Tesla was right, because we can look at the world and understand this world has primarily elements, this world has the same elements in your body. And by the way, it's an interesting thing in Kapila Muni explanation. You know what is the great quality of earth? Earth. There's 5 elements. water, ether, earth. What is the great quality of earth?
It comprises of all.
Yes, that's right. So earth is combining all elements. Earth has a smell, earth has water, it's everything. So, but, you know, it's an amazing way that the world we live in and how consciousness functioning in this world. So when Purush entered all the elements, he didn't wake up. He only wake up when he got endorsed by Vasudeva, divine consciousness. So it says in the Bhagavatam, while you're sleeping, there's no way you can wake up without divine. Remember Kumbhakarna? They couldn't wake him up. Why? Because when you are sleeping, you are in a primarily outer stage of consciousness. So when Ramachandra wanted to kill Kumbhakarna, then they wake him up. That's why it says, only by Lord will things can happen. So just imagine, you can't even wake up without will of the Lord. And you think like, oh, I can wake up through my alarm clock. Yeah, that's right, but everything divine will is behind. So subscribe our channel, place your donations in a digital form, and if you have any questions about tantric magic, please sign private appointment. Males and females both welcome. It's $300 an hour, and first 10 minutes for free. And once you're fully satisfied with advice, you know, you can subscribe our platform for monthly payment. Swami's advice, right? Like, do you see how easy to pollute this knowledge? How easy this knowledge can be polluted. That's why Krishna says, Evam param param praptam. This cannot be sold. That's very important. So devotees in Israel said, oh, we can do this, we can sell this. I said, that's right, but if you keep the spirit, proper devotional spirit, only and then this can be bhakti yoga. In any other things, this can become something else. This can become a merchandise, a product, because, you know, it's demandable. Like people have a demand, how do I deal with my wife? It's a demandable, you know, you can sell this information. And now everything is about information. But that is not what we're trying to achieve. So what we're trying to achieve is devotional service. So to devotee, any kind of knowledge will come as, how do I do better service? Not how like, oh, okay, now I understand like how the Sushumna works. I go on the website, I'll tell you, here's guys, 5 mystical things for you to make sales. No, that's not what it is. But, you know, if you want to know like real magic, there are like certain mudras, like for instance this one. Through this one you can understand how the whole energy is going through your body. And you can understand past, future, easy. But the problem is like, why you need to know this? Why do you want to explore something that is not really, it's not a word, it's a siddhi, perfection. But devotees are getting, anyway, all perfection. Like for instance, I give you an example. A couple of years back on Burning Man, I'm like meditating, chant Gayatri, and I've seen vision, a person being burned. So when the big burns start, when they go burn, you know, the thing, you know what I told my guys? I said, guys, let's not go to see burn. Let's just sit down here, drink tea, talk devotional thing. This is not our thing, it's just a mundane ritual. You know, we can maybe go later, but you know, in Burning Man, everybody going to burn. So one guy on drug ran and burned himself. And I've seen this 2 days before, several times. And I told him, I feel somebody will burn himself. I told him, like 2 hours before it happens. I said, I don't feel auspicious going there. And you know why I did not want to go there? Because I would think, possibly if this person would run, the devotees would try to catch him. So that's what happened. This guy ran in the fire to burn himself. Some people tried to catch him also died. Guess what? Maybe a couple of weeks before, I'm coming to my meditation, and I see a burning woman in my meditation. In 2 days, there's a news. Russian woman journalist burned herself before police station. If this happened in America, it would be like huge riot. In Russia, some people said, yeah, a little riot. But I've seen this. So my question is like, I did not try to sense this future. It came to me for some reason. So, and I thought like, well, if there'll be riot, if our devotees go there, there'll be problems. So when I talked to them, I said, don't go to any riots. So because we don't need political thing, you know. We understand it's horrible. This woman were, you know, sent to the age, but I guarantee you, when she decided to do this, she was in Sushumna. Guarantee you. So that's how important to understand certain things about yourself, because especially if you're women, because women has fame for being emotional. So, okay, when two nostrils working, calm down, take like, you know, like chant Hare Krishna, be happy. Because if you start like, so I'm telling you right now, I'm giving you this information, so every time you have exchange, you check. No. It's very easy to check. So my point is this, it's a very, like, what I'm telling you, it's a very common knowledge. It's not like how to meditate with your swara, shunya, blah, blah, blah. It's too complicated for common people. Like, I've studied this in Shastras. It's not what you can do in your daily life. You need to be like expert yogi. But certain things, you know, okay, two nostrils working, it's time to chant. Best time to chant. Two nostrils working, no time to fight. Not even time to exchange. And you want to have pleasant conversation. If you're in Ida, he's in Pingala, that's good. That means male-female energy working. You know, everything has meaning. But when you go to temple, it doesn't matter, because in temple you're not husband and wife. So in temple you're a spiritual soul. And also when your sushumna start function, any spiritual activity, no matter what you do, cleaning a temple, singing kirtan, it's all acceptable. That's how universal it is. Hari Horaya Nama Krishna Yadovaya Namaha. Yadovaya Madhovaya Keshivaya Namaha. Gopal Govindaram Shri Madhusudana. Gopal Govindaram Shri Madhusudana. Giridhari Gopinath Modana Mohana. Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra. Saji Gaura Bhakta Jaya Rupa Sanatan Bhakta Raghunatha Shiva Gopala Bhakta Dasa Raghunatha Jai Goshani Gauri Charana Vandana Bhavati Durgana Sharisto Purana Jai Goshani Jarana Muni Dharna Dasa Sangero Chorana Sebe Bhasto Sanibhasa Padma Koriyasa. So it's an interesting observation. Like for instance, Madhva Sampradaya, how they call themselves. You know, Bhaktalita? Yes. What is the tattva? So in yoga, tattva is 5 primary elements, water, ether, and how they function in the inner space. But in Vaishnava tradition, tattva means something else. Although tattva described in Kapila Muni, Sankhya Yoga, but tattva, Jnaninas tattva darshanam. So tattva means the knowledge about Supreme Lord, His incarnations, the souls. And so when we're talking about with tantric and yogic principle, so it's to define how your own physical, mental self function in harmony with this material existence. And finally, realize Lord, which is in your heart at best. After a certain enlightenment. So in the devotional world, it's the supreme tattva. Like, do you understand Pancha Tattva? What is Pancha Tattva? What does it mean? Sri Krishna, Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shivasadi, Gaura Bhaktavrinda. So what does that mean? Who is Sri Krishna Chaitanya? And who is Prabhu Nityananda? So that's why it says in the scripture, the Lord in the form of devotee, the carrier of devotion, Advaita. Who is Advaita? He's a Mahavishnu. But who is his acting as? Because remember, in these things it says every Panchatattva means that Lord came, like, with his associates, his paraphernalia. So that's why, like Advaita, what's the position of Advaita? He's Mahavishnu. But what is his function in Gaur Lila? Like Mahavishnu is creating Mahatattva and all the universe. But in Gaur Lila, what is that super duper schmuper Mahavishnu is doing? Well, he is super duper Mahavishnu. Like, what is he doing? He's basically cooking for Mahaprabhu and preaching Mahaprabhu. Yes, he brought Mahaprabhu through his prayers, serving Mahaprabhu. That's why he's telling, I'm the servant of the servant of the servant. So think of this, if Mahavishnu, who is source of Mahatattva, he's showing, I'm the servant of the servant. I'm not like the main guy, my function is servant of the servant. And Nityananda, who is source of Mahavishnu, Chaturvyuha, Pradyumna Sankarshana Baladeva Nirudha, what is his function? What is his doing? What is his mantra? Bhaja Gaurangi, Kaha Gaurangi, Laha Gaurangi Nam. What is he telling? He's telling, if you are accepting name of Gauranga, I'm Nityananda Prabhu will become your slave. I will serve you because I want you to accept my Lord Gauranga. And now next, who's Gadadhar Pandit? Is he something small? He's what been accepting by Krishna in Radharani, and because she input her full avesh in Krishna, her heart and hello, some part of her remain to observe. So giving to Krishna her heart, hello, cover, she's remained to observe and serve. So that is Gadadhar Pandit. So he is Radharani himself, fully giving, extending, which is like even beyond, other things. But there were two Panchatattva mantras. You know that? There were not one, there were 2 Panchatattva mantras. And Guru Maharaj is coming on that in one of his lectures. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. So, in other Panchatattva mantra, other name instead of Shivas was mentioned. But then they accept Shivas as supreme. Do you know why? Because Lord came with the whole Vaikuntha. There could be some, there were like important devotees too. So everybody is like in that mantra remain, but who is position of Srivas Thakur? Who is he? Yes, that's right. So there could be, someone else instead of Narad. But why Narad is mentioned? Because in this Leela, it's the Leela about distribution. Who can distribute glories of the Lord better than Narad? That's why he wins the place in mantra. There's no one better than Narada Muni when it comes to move through time and space and distribute divine pastimes. Jai Gauranga Mahaprabhu ki Jai. So you can see, compared to the Gauranga knowledge, this other knowledge is like useless. So, but you can make a few dollars with it in a hungry time. Jai Shri Giriraj Govardhan ki Jai. Так, что, народ, что-то уже как это самое...